Good day, everyone. My name is Hakim Yaya Temidayo, a programmer from Kimball Software Solution Limited. This tutorial, we are going to learn arithmetic operators, which include the addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. These arithmetic operators are the most common used operators in programming, though there are some other arithmetic operators like the modulus and the rest. But I want you guys to be very familiar with this addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. Once you know how to use them very well, to use others will be very simple. And I'm also going to show you how you can use others as we keep learning. So the most important thing is for you to please subscribe to our YouTube channel and also click on the notify button so that you can always get notified anytime we upload a new video. And I will also want you guys to focus on this tutorial because this is an opportunity for you to learn programming from scratch to professional level, as we will be uploading all our videos from lesson 1 up till the final lesson. So let's just quickly launch our Visual Studio so that we can see how these arithmetic operators work. So in this tutorial, I'm going to teach you guys how to create a simple calculator that will allow you to find the sum, difference, multiple, and division of two numbers. Sorry for that. That is being entered into a text box or to the text box by the users. So the next thing we have to do now is to just launch a new project. I believe you guys know how to launch a new project. If you don't know, you go back to our lesson 1 and watch the video, then you learn how to launch a new project. So let's wait for the project and the dialog box to come up. Ensure that you select this Visual Studio and then select Windows Form application, as we'll be working on Windows Form application for now before going to web development. So I'm going to change this name to calculator. Then let's open the program. So thank you very much. Okay, so we have our form here. I believe those of us have seen the first video, understood what this form meant. So we have form 1 as default. So just go to the text and change it to, I can change it to simple calculator. Good. I'll change this to simple calculator. Then from this place, I don't want the user to be able to resize my program. You can disable them from resizing your program. So you go to you select the form and go to its property, then you go to form border style. So meaning the border style of this form you want to is resizable before, but you want to change it to fixed single. That fixed single, it won't allow them to resize the form. If we run it now, we find out that you won't be able to resize it, but you can maximize. You won't be able to drag the resize from the edge, but you can maximize, which I don't also want them to maximize. I just want it to be the fixed size I want to design this program to be. So I'm going to disable them from maximizing the program also. So To do so, you just go to the form. You go to the form property, open the form property, then you go to the maximize box, so you change it to false. So from here you find out that this place is now blocked, so it means it is disabled. So we have start position. I want the position, if you remember from the first this time, I want it to display in the middle. So I guess that is all what we need to set up for the form for now. So now I need the user to enter two values. So I'm going to bring in two labels and two text boxes. The label will be describing what the user should enter into each of those text boxes. We have label 1, which is the first label. So I'm just going to duplicate this label into two. Good. So I'm going to retype the text of this label to, sorry for that, num 1. Change this number to capital letter, and also I'm going to change this one to num 2. Num 2. So now from here I'm going to change the font to 14 and also make it bold so that it will be more bigger than before and look nice and more clear. Good. So now we need a text box. Just type text box and it's going to come out. Now this is the text box. So I'm going to duplicate this text box. After duplicating, I'm going to rearrange. So I want it to be at the mid. Good. So now I'm going to increase this size, and by increasing the size you go to the font. You increase the font. Once you increase the font, the size increases. Good. So I'm going to add some labels that is going to describe each of those results that will be generating. The first one, which is label 1, and number 1, I'm going to change it to maybe sum, to show that okay, this place where result will be displayed, it will be sum. The difference. We have the product. And we have the division. We have the division. So now from this place, I'm going to bring in the main label that is going to hold the value of the result, but this one is just a label to show that okay, the result here is sum. So I'm going to put this value to at default to be 0, so that when the user launches the application, at default the sum will be 0 since there is nothing inside the text box. Then the difference should also be 0. Then the product should be 0 also, and the division should also be 0. Good. So now from here we are going to rename this results label so that we'll be able to remember what we are to code there. So the first one is sum, Abi. So we'll rename it to sum result. That is, after summing the result, we put the result there. So we have sum results, we have different results, we have different result, which is diff. I'm just going to make it diff result. I like using short names. So we have product result, that is pro results, and the last one, which is division result, will be div result. Good, div result. So now from here we are going to put a button. Button that is going to calculate, when the user click on it, is going to calculate what is being entered into these two boxes and display them in each of these results. So this is button 1. I'm going to rename it, or name first of all resize the button. I'm going to rename it to BTN. That is under the name. I'm going to name it BTN, which I normally use it as button. BTN calculate, meaning calculate button. Then I'm going to change the text from button 1 to calculate. So when the user say calculate, they will know I'm to click on calculate here, so that I can get the calculation of these two values. So we have the back color, which is background color. I'm going to change it to green. So but the font is still dark, so I'm going to change it to white so that it will be more brighter. Good. But the button is still having it's still looking odd, so I'm going to change the flat style. It's on standard. I'm going to change it to flat, it will look like Windows 8 style button. So the font is a little bit tiny, so I'm going to change the font to bold, and I'm going to increase that to 12, the size to 12. Good. So let's just copy and paste this. I want this other button to clear the application, clear the values. So I'm going to change the color to be red. Good. So, and I'm going to change the text to be clear, and also change the name to be BTN clear. So I've renamed them. So anywhere I'm coding now, if I should call that name, it will quickly respond, because that is his name, which has been given to it by me. So if we should run this now, you'll see how beautiful the program is. Good, you can see it. If we click this, there's nothing in it yet, so it will not do anything. It will be empty for now. So this one also, there's nothing in it here. This This is just a user interface, a UI design of the program. We've not written any code behind the scene. So now let's go behind the scene, which is called back end in programming. This front end, then let's go to the back end and code. Now if I want to calculate everything that is being entered into these two boxes to display the results here, here, and here, I'm going to click on this calculate button because that's where I want to do the calculation. Once I click on it, it opens this page for me, which is the back-end code page where we are going to be writing our C# code. Now here I'm going to be explaining some little things which I didn't explain before the tutorial, but I'm very sure it's very, very important in programming, which is data type. Data type is just data type is just like a tool that the compiler uses to identify the type of variable that is being installed and that is being stored in it. So if I'm collecting a numerical value from the user, it's either I use integer data type, or I use single data type, or I use double data type. That shows I'm collecting a numerical value. So if I want to collect a character, I'll use string. That shows I want to collect a character from the user. Let's say, for instance, if I want a user to enter their name and the rest, so we use string to collect that. So that is just the simple description of data type. So now this data type, in this simple calculator we are about to run, I'm going to use integer because I want the user to enter an integer value. I can use single, I can use double. Single and double are more or less the same. Only thing is that double is more collect more numbers than single, because in single, after decimal point, it display 4 digits after the decimal point, but in double it display everything complete. If the number, the final digit is 0.0000 to infinity, it will display everything. But if it is in single, it will truncate the fifth one and display just 4 of the decimal point. So while integer will display just 1, if it is 0.1, it will truncate 1 and display 0. So but for now, for this tutorial, I will be using integer. But if you are doing maybe a large project for companies that are dealing with different data, large data, that's when you need all this single and double. We call it float. We call it float data type, which is single and double, because they have decimal points. But integer doesn't have decimal point. Integer starts from 0 to 1,000, 1 million, up to infinity, but so far there is no point in it. So now for this program we are going to be using integer to declare those values we want to collect from the user. Now I want to collect the first value I want to collect from the user is the numerical value, which will be stored into a variable called num1. So that num1 will be attached to the text box called num1 text box. That is that tst num1. This text box here, this one, I'm going to declare a variable that will be attached to this, and also declare a variable that will be attached to this. Then declare a variable that will be display all these 4 results. So ideally what we need now is we need 4 variables to declare in this program. So you need to understand that also. That is where your thinking come in. That is why I said in programming you need to focus and know what you are doing. Your mind should not be divided while programming. You should think, how many variables do I need to develop this program? as you are writing, you are jotting it down so that you will know what you are doing. So this num1 we hold one variable. This num2 we also hold a variable, and num3 this sum result, diff result also, and product result, then division result. So all this together is now 6 variable. We are declaring 6 variable, and all will be in integer because we are dealing with integer now. So we have int, and this is how to declare variable in C#. You declare the int, which is the data type, followed by the variable name, which is num1. So I want it to, you can name it anything of your choice. If you like, you can write rat, you can write goat there, but it's better you write what is really related to that text box you want to use. So num1, that text box is called tst num1. So if I say int num1 is still not bad, int num1 is equals to int dot pass, then I want this int dot pass means I want to convert what is being entered into tst num1, but sorry, we didn't rename the text box. So we didn't rename the text box. Let me clean this, and we'll have to go back and rename that text box. So this text box, since we'll be using it, we'll rename it. Is still on text box 1. You can use it as text box 1, but it's not advisable. It's better you rename it to what you will remember. So we'll rename it to tst num1, and also rename this text box 2 to tst num2. We'll rename it to tst num2. So now we'll now come back and say int num1 is equal to int dot pass, then convert that text box to integer dot text. Anything the user entered should be converted to dot text. Then I will close the, I will end the statement here. So I'll go to the next one and say int num2 is equal to int dot pass, then we have tst num2 dot text. Good. So now I've succeeded in creating a name that is being associated to this text box, and also creating another name that is being associated to this other text box here. So the next thing that I'm going to do is remaining four variables now, which will be declaring now. I'll be holding the 4 results we want to display. So I'm just going to say int. The first one is sum. I want to display sum. Now instead of ending the statement, I'm going to the next line to type int diff like this. It's still correct, but it's not okay. It's not ideal for a professional developer. You should try and optimize your code. If you can write code that is going to display hello world with just a single line of code, is more better than writing 3 to 3 code, 4 to 3 codes to display just hello world. So in this program, as I'm coding, I'm also show you how you can optimize code. So now we are going to declare everything on a single line, which is int sum, instead of going to another line to declare another one, because the compiler will have to read line by line. But if it is on single line, on the same line, the compiler will not have to finish the first line, go to the second line. It will just go through them at once and then go to the next one and then execute the task. So we have int sum, we have the next one diff, which is the difference, we have mult, which is the multiplication, and we have div, which is the divide. So now I'm going to do my calculation here. Sum will be equals to the first one, which is num1. You see, that's why I converted this text box into num1, so that I can now use, if I'm calculating now, it's calculating what the user entered inside here as num1. It will calculate it immediately. Num1 plus num2. Then let's go to difference. Diff now will be equals to num1 minus num2. Now let's go to mult. Mult will be equals to num1 multiplied by, it uses ampersand. We use this ampersand in programming for our multiplication. So we also go for diff will be equals to num1 divided by num2. So now we want to display the results that is being calculated here. This is what the compiler does. It calculates num1 plus num2. If num1 is 2 and num2 is 2, it will do 2 plus 2 and now assign that final answer 2 plus 2, which is 4, into sum. Sum will now hold that 4. Diff will now say 2 minus 2, and which is 0. It will assign it here. Diff will now hold that 0. Mult will say num1 times num2, which is 2 times 2, which is 4. 4 will be assigned to mult. So different, the divide now will now be 2 divided by 2, which is 1, and it will be held by div. So now they have not done anything yet. They are just helping you to hold the result. So for you to now display that result, that is where you now start calling the result by saying the first one, which is sum. Now sum will be associated to what? Sum result. If you remember, we wrote sum result from this, which is what we want to display, sum result. Sum result dot test will be equals to, we have sum dot to string. So convert it back to string, because before it is in integer. So you have to convert it back to string. So we have diff result dot test will now be equals to diff dot to string. Then we have mult result I guess I named it something else. Let's check. That is under mult, which is product. Pro result, product, which is pro result dot test will be equals to, now product, which is pro dot result which is mult. Don't forget we are dealing with multiplication with this mult. Oh, let me just change this, because it seems we'll be getting confused more and more. This will now be pro. And here will now be pro, to show that it's product. Pro dot to string. And the last one will now be div, which is div result now. dot test equals to div dot to string. So now we are done with the calculation. So once the user click on calculate, it's going to do all this calculation for us. But now there's one thing we want to do. We want to clear the information. If it's done calculating, we want to clear it and make it fresh. So for us to clear it, how many text box do we have there? We have 2 text box and 4 results labels. So, and we need to initialize those labels back to 0, 0, 0, 0 to their normal form, and also make these ones empty. So how do we do that? For you to do that, the first text box is text box 1, which is tstnum dot test to be equal to, you want that text box 1 dot it test should be empty. Just put quotation, double quote, empty, meaning nothing should be inside. If I put anything here, anything that is here, that is what is going to display. But if I make it empty like this, nothing will be inside. So now the next one also, text box 2, which is tst num2 dot test, should be also empty. So now after it's been empty, tst num1 now dot focus, that is the cursor to be blinking in tst num1, meaning are you willing to do another calculation, meaning are you willing to do another calculation. So if you are willing to do another calculation, you should start typing in your values. You understand? So that is dot focus. That is the work of dot focus. If I want the text box 2 dot test should be dot focus also, I will just say dot box 2 dot test to also, it should also focus. So now the next one is to now turn sum result dot test and diff result dot test product to 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. So I'm just going to copy this. As we are developing, you'll be learning how to code fast. You don't need to retype some code. So I'm just going to copy this and put it in no column. Don't forget I said anything you enter here is going to display. So I want it to be 0 here also. I want it to be 0 also. I want this to be 0 also. And finally I want this to be 0. Now if we should run our app, let's see how it works. Even me, I don't know the result it's going to give me because I don't know what my user is going to enter. So I can enter, let's say 20 divided by, let's say 2. Sorry, 20. The first number should be 20, the second number should be 2. So once I calculate, good, you can see it said the sum of 20 is 22, the difference of 20 is 18, the product of 20 is 40, and the division of 20 is 10. So if I should clear, you see, after clearing, this text box keep blinking to show that okay, you can enter another. If I enter 100 here and I enter, let's say 12, now look at it. The sum of 100 is and 12 is 112. The product is, the difference is 88. The product is 12, and the division is 8. So if I should clear now, it will also clear. So this have brought us to the end of the tutorial. Thank you very much for your time, and also I will advise you guys to always subscribe and click on the notification button on our YouTube channel so that you can be notified anytime we release a new video. So our new video will be coming up in the next 2 days. That should be on 10th by God's grace. Thank you very much and stay tuned. Bye.